Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He's award winning and best selling author, and of course, author of several books, no other than Mr. Barry Finlay. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Barry, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Well, thank you very much, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I was actually raised in central Canada and I became an accountant. I was an accountant with the federal government for, I guess, 31 years, Canadian federal government. And then my son and I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in 2009. I had a little bit of a health issue, went to the doctor, and he told me my triglyceride levels were elevated. So I hired a personal trainer who just about killed me. And I ended up climbing Mount Kilimanjaro with my son. We made it to the top, and we came back and wrote a book about it called Kilimanjaro and Beyond. And I enjoyed the experience so much that I decided that I'd try and write another book. So we had traveled quite a bit. I traveled with my in-laws, and so I wrote a book about our travels and some of the incidents, some of the funny incidents that happened along the way. And then when I was finished that one, I wanted to keep going, and I decided that I would uh, try writing a thriller. I didn't know if I'd be able to do it. I'm an accountant, so I'm not supposed to be creative. Um, but the thriller turned out okay. It was called The Vanishing Wife, and it became the first of a series of five thrillers. And then after that, I decided I would like to try writing a mystery or a whodunit, where the perp isn't known until the end, and that has turned into a three-book series. And then I came back. I was thinking during this time I developed a slogan uh, that goes like every mountaintop is within reach if you just keep climbing. And people had kind of encouraged me to write a book about that, and I had sort of resisted for a while because I didn't feel I was in a position to tell anybody what they should be doing. But then over time, the slogan picked up steam and popularity. And so I decided to write a book about it. And Just Keep Climbing was born. So that's the latest book. I've also ghost written another book since then, but my latest book is Just Keep Climbing, and it's inspirational stories based on real challenges that eight other people have had. And I've broken the challenges up into three categories. There are challenges that people give themselves, or challenges that people have as a result of bad decisions they've made. And the third category is challenges that people are given that they didn't ask for. So, for example, there's a family that's in the middle of a civil war in Cameroon. So it's how they handle their challenges, and so that was a departure again. Just Keep Climbing was another departure from writing the mysteries and thrillers, but I enjoy both genres, and I'll be going back to the mystery series again now, and just keep writing.
Keep writing, people, keep writing. So, Mr. Barry Finlay, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. And how does the book define resilience and its role in personal growth?
Well, each one of the eight characters are tremendously resilient. They've had setbacks. There's one of the characters, or one of the people in who gave herself a challenge as an ultramarathoner, and she is the third Canadian woman to complete the Four Deserts Ultramarathon series. So she's run across the Sahara Desert, the Gobi Desert, Antarctica, and the Atacama Trail in Chile. And she's just demonstrated tremendous resilience. There were setbacks all along the way. Nothing went as planned. And so she kept going. And I think that's every one of the people in the book has demonstrated resilience in one way or another. The characters who are, I keep calling them the characters, but they're actual real people. The people who took on challenges or were given challenges because of bad decisions they've made. Two of them are drug addicts who have come through on the other side, and they've made something of their lives. They've rehabilitated through various means, and again, they had setbacks along the way, and so they've demonstrated tremendous resilience in being able to overcome their challenges, and that's what the book is about. It's about being handed challenge or taking on a challenge, and overcoming that challenge. And resilience is a big part of it.
How does the book emphasize the importance of persistence during difficult times?
Yeah, again, if you're not persistent at trying to complete a challenge of any kind, you're not going to make it. And so that's why I call it just keep climbing. When we were climbing the mountain Kilimanjaro, we had been hiking for about 12 hours one day, and everybody was just exhausted, and we still had a little ways to go. And from the back of the pack came this voice saying, "Just keep swimming." And it was our son who said that, and he was referencing the movie Finding Nemo. And when Dory, tells Nemo to keep swimming, and so that's really where my slogan, "Every mountaintop is within reach if you just keep climbing," comes from. And so you have to keep putting one step in front of the other, no matter what you're doing. In our case, we were climbing, so we had to put one step in front of the other, and we had to be persistent and able to enable ourselves to reach the top. And so I think that's a big part of overcoming a challenge is being persistent and keeping at it and telling yourself you can do it, and then eventually you'll get there. And it's not going to happen immediately. You just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and just keep climbing for all intents and purposes.
What lessons can readers take away about living life with purpose?
Well, I think there are a few lessons to be taken away from the book. One of the things I talk about is defining success, because when I was young or in my teens, I thought success was having 14 cars and three houses around the world and that kind of thing. And your perspective changes, obviously, as you get older. You realize that some things are not going to happen the way you expect them to happen. Um, so I think the lesson is that you just keep climbing, and you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and your definition of success is going to change. And I think you have to realize that your success is your success. You can't look at somebody else and say, well, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. It's you have to define your own borders, and be happy with your own success, and not worry about what somebody else has done.
Yes. Be grateful of what you have. What
Exactly.
is one story from the book that stood out to you the most and why?
Oh boy. I think every story stood out to me. Um, the family in Cameroon that I mentioned that have been given a challenge that they didn't ask for. There's a war going on in Cameroon, and it's basically a French English conflict. They're right in the middle of it. They're living in an English part of Cameroon, and I met this gentleman through social media. I was raising money for kids in Tanzania after our climb of Kilimanjaro, and excuse me, he was doing the same thing in Cameroon at the time. And so we came in contact with each other, and we developed kind of a friendship over social media. And then the war broke out in Cameroon, and they were stuck right in the middle of it. Their choice was to move to Nigeria. They could have done that, but they chose to stay where they were. And the reason he did that was because he wanted his sons to to see him take a stand no matter what happened to them. And so he wanted his sons to be proud of him and for taking a stand. And I remember one day I was sitting at my computer and it was snowing outside. It was the middle of winter in Ontario here. It was snowing outside. I was staring at the snow, and this gentleman contacted me on Facebook Messenger and said, "How's it going?" And I said, "It's snowing outside. We can't do anything. It's cold. It's miserable. We're stuck in the house." I said, "How's it going with you?" And he said, "We're in the jungle hiding from a military helicopter." And so to me, that really put things in perspective. Here I was complaining about the snow, and he was protecting his family from something much, much worse. So it really put things in perspective to me, and for me, and it really stood out as one of the highlights of the book. But I have to say that every one of the people in the book are the way they have handled their challenges is tremendous. They go from um, well, for example, there's an author who had a senior executive job, a well-paying senior executive job, and she decided to throw it all away and become a full-time author. And so she took a chance. She challenged herself to become a full-time author, and it goes all the way from that to a woman who was diagnosed with cancer and given 2 years to live back in 2018, and she's handling her medical diagnosis with tremendous grace, and she posts funny videos on Facebook, and so every one of the stories stood out to me in one way or another.
So, how do individuals in the book overcome their struggles?
Just perseverance and dedication, and like I say, just keep climbing. They just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I'm sure they have their down days. If I can mention another one of the stories in the book, I mentioned the ultra marathoner already, and so she has done all these amazing things. She's um, run across deserts, and she swam from Alcatraz to San Francisco. And then one day, the doctor told her that she had cardiomyopathy, which is enlarging of the heart. She had to stop running. And so running had been her life. And all of a sudden, that was taken away from her. And so she had to, she took time, I think, to kind of mourn. She was in kind of the stages of mourning. And but then she realized that that was doing her no good, that she had to overcome that um, and reallocate her life to something else, or um, change her lifestyle and do other things. And so she's taken on. She started doing beekeeping, and she goes on hikes, and she bought an e-bike, and she e-biked from the Alps in New Zealand to the ocean. And so, it's you just have to take control of whatever challenge it is and do whatever you can with it. And there are going to be setbacks, but you just have to accept those setbacks and rejig your life and do something else. Take on something else.
Yes,
It sounds easy.
definitely.
It sounds easy. It's not easy.
Yes, it's easy to say, but it's hard to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Mr. Barry, what will be your advice for those people out there having setbacks to their lives?
Well, I think just sit back and examine what those setbacks are and what the possible solutions are, and how they can address the challenges in the best way that they can, and then go for it. I think you just have to um, kind of put a box around whatever it is that the challenge is, and figure out how you can move forward in the best way possible.
Yes, definitely. How about for those first timer or people out there want to create something in the world of books?
In the world of books, first time
Yes,
writers,
yes.
Well, I get asked that question quite a bit, and I tell people just to write. Don't worry about creating a masterpiece, but put your thoughts down on paper. It doesn't have to be great, but just get started and put your thoughts down and maybe walk away from it for a while after you've put them down, and then go back to it and um, review it and change it and make whatever adjustments are necessary, and just keep doing that. And I think if you really want to be a writer, I think um, you'll sit down and do that. I was approached by somebody who said that they're not a writer, but they've got all these thoughts, and what can they do? Could I write them down for her? Well, the answer is no. The only way I could do that is to sit down with her and spend all kinds of time with her and understand who she is and what she is and try and capture her personality somehow. And so I think for anybody who wants to put their words into a book of some kind, the first step is to sit down and write and do what you can. And then that's the only way that if you want to hire a ghostwriter after that, then at least they've got something to work with. And when I
Yes.
wrote Karen's book, I mentioned that I'd ghostwritten a book for the ultra marathoner. She had some great notes, and there were gaps. And so, but at least I could understand her personality a bit from her notes, and then and fill in the gaps. So it's important for a first timer just to write and get their words out on paper, and it doesn't matter what it looks like, and go back and review it and change it and just work your way through the process.
So, Mr. Barry, what is your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
Well, I'm kind of at a stage in life where I just want people to read my books. I want to put out products that are good products and that people enjoy reading. Um, I I don't have a goal of finding a traditional publisher. I'm an independent author. I'm happy with that. So uh, my goal is to just keep writing. My short term goal is to write another book in the Jake Scott series. That's the mystery series that I've got 3 books in now, and I'm going to be writing a fourth. I'll start working on. I've been doing the research, and it's kind of percolating in my head, and I'll start writing in January. And that's basically my short term goal. And I guess my long term goal is just to put out as many books that people want to read as possible.
Good luck for your goal, Mr. Barry. And what practical advice does Just Keep Climbing offer for maintaining balance and happiness?
I'm sorry.
What practical advice does Just Keep Climbing after offer or after for maintaining balance and happiness?
Well, I think it's overcoming your challenges and addressing your challenges and dealing with them, and keeping in mind that any success is your success. It's not somebody else's success. That you have to set your own goals and work towards your own goals, and um, reward yourself when you reach one of your own goals, and then set another goal. And so I think it's not a matter of worrying about what somebody else is doing. It's a matter of setting your own goals and setting your own sights and working towards those.
So, Mr. Barry, to sum up our episode for today, how can readers apply the book's lessons to their everyday lives?
Well, I think again, I think you'll be tremendously inspired by the stories that people have told and Just Keep Climbing. They've all met challenges. They've all overcome challenges. They're all still, in some cases, facing challenges. Um, but I think that anybody who reads the book, and I've had people tell me that they've read it, more than once, or they keep it by their bedside and read a particular story. So I think um, people can read this book for an example. If it's an aspiring author, the story of the woman who gave away her executive career to become an author will be inspiring to them to write. And so I think it's a matter of understanding that if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and working towards your goal, that you'll get there. It's perseverance, it's dedication, it's work ethic. There are a number of things that can be learned. And one of the, it's a little bit off topic, I guess, but one of the lessons I think in the book too is that people are people, and everywhere, that we all have hopes and dreams, and we all want to accomplish things. And sometimes people don't have the opportunity to do that, but they can set their own goals and do what they can. And the other thing is that words matter. You know, we all inspire people, whether we realize it or not. Some of the things we say and do inspire others somewhere along the way. And so I think it's also a matter of listening to what other people have to say, and absorbing what they have to say and applying it to your own situation as best you can. So there are a number of lessons, I think, that come out of the book that are common sense, really, and and they can be applied to any situation.
Mr. Barry Finley, again, thank you so much for sharing your award winning piece, books, and we are looking forward for more empowering books like this. So, Mr. Barry, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yes, well, thank you very much, Daniel. I've really appreciated this. And my books are available through Amazon, through bookstores by order, through most libraries, or if they don't have them, ask them to order them. And I'm sure they'll be pleased to do so.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Barry Finley because as I said, if you support him, more empowering books to come. So, Mr. Barry, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon. So, Mr. Barry, next see you next year. Okay,
Yes,
you're
sounds
set.